All right. What's up, guys? We are being given a new map pool. The TLMC happened like 4 months ago. We've had the finalists. We've heard there's new maps on the way, but finally they've been announced as actually being out there for Valencia. That's right. The upcoming DreamHack Masters is actually going to be played on these maps. They're still not out on the ladder yet, but we do know which maps got picked. Cosmic Sapphire, Data Sea, Inside Out, Moondance, Stargazers, Tropical Sacrifice, and the ever beautiful Waterfall. Tropical Sacrifice, pretty beautiful as well. When are they coming to ladder? People are going to be asking that, so let's answer that right at the start. If we scroll down here, Dimitri, the lovely admin from ESL, has already done a short Q&A on his Twitter. He said, the maps are the same as the TLMC maps, but they have bug fixes and quality of life changes. So they've already spent the last couple of months with, I think, the pros and other people practicing on them, getting ready for Valencia. I believe they had a heads up ahead of time. Practicing these maps, figuring out, hey, there's a little broken spot on the map here, or you can wall off a cannon rush with 2 pylons here. So I think they've adjusted a few little doodads, performance issues, things like that, to make sure the maps are meant to be proper. At the same time, I think they've still got an open request to the community, since when more people test it, more problems will be found, saying, hey guys, let us know what's going on with it. But he does say, when are they coming to ladder? They're coming, yes. When? Soon. Actual soon, not TM. Now, the problem, of course, is I do feel Blizzard is a bit of a ball and chain in this scenario. They take a while to do what they say they're going to do. But let's hope right after Valencia, we get a patch, we get new ladder maps. Would be very exciting, and to have a completely new map pool would be awesome. So Cosmic Sapphire, rush distance 38 seconds, apparently. Size 140 by 140. 4 high ground expansions with respect to a choke point. Securing a 5th and 6th base will pose a challenge to players. So basically, hey, you get pretty, not too hard to defend your first couple bases, but as you get stretched out on the map, it's going to get harder and harder. And we've already got some statistics coming in from the very few tournaments that have been played on it. All right, cool. Let's take a little look-see here. Okay, so you've got main base versus main base. You've obviously got your naturals as well. Now, where does your third go? You could technically take this third base, but the gold base in the corner, very exposed. So imagine this is, say, a Zerg player at the bottom of the map. You're like, oh, that's cool, I get a gold base. Imagine you're playing a Terran, and he's like, well, normally I'd take that third, but I'm just going to take this third, and I have the easiest push path of all time. Oh, sorry, you can't go over this. This is blocked. You cannot move over that area, guys. You can take down this rock and this rock to get that push path through the middle that we were just talking about, right? But you can imagine just how hard it is to defend that gold. So that's a pretty rare example. I think what you're going to see a lot more often is the players expand in a triangle formation. And then you've got a 4th that's not too far away up there, or down here, 4th and a 5th. And this is going to be probably the most common lineup of like bases. You do have rich gas up here in the top right. These ones are, I believe, 6 mineral patch bases with a rich gas geyser, and you've got the gold base, a 6 mineral patch gold base with double gas in the bottom left. Let's go double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it is a full mineral base with 1 rich gas geyser. A rich gas geyser, of course, not going to give you as much as 2 gases, but you can mine it a bit more efficiently. This base not as exposed, I would say, as the gold base, but definitely one which is going to be interesting. And in general, as your bases get spread across such a wide front, you're going to go from like, hey, I have 3 bases to defend, to, oh my god, how do I defend all this stuff? So, because if you can imagine, you can attack there. Attacks can come down here. Attacks can go there. You can also branch off in any of these parts. My point being that, like, if you're saying a TVT on this map, guys, and you've got like a position forward, so let's get rid of some of these X's, right? Okay, so it's it's 4 base versus 4 base. So bam, bam, bam. But if you suddenly get a forward position up like here, it's really scary for the defensive player, because you can so quickly rotate your army up this way and try to cut that base off. You can push in towards the natural. You've got so many different angles, not to mention drops can still come in the sides, right? And I'm giving TVT the example because that's a matchup where the positioning and catching your opponent out of position and having the forward siege paths is going to be very useful. But my point being, guys, this all comes back to really simplify this concept. It's just the fact that the more bases you get, let's say you're in super late game, you're both on, so look at that front that you've got to defend. Look at the amount of space that you've got to defend. This is not a map where it's going to be super easy for you to just take 8 bases and defend them. This is reminiscent of 2000 Atmospheres. 2000 Atmospheres gives us some of the most interesting macro games because after your first 4 or 5 bases, you're taking these corner bases that are so exposed and so hard to defend. So what do we see in 2000 Atmospheres? We normally see, well, one player wins a fight on one side. So say this player comes up here and it's like, haha, deny these 2 bases, get wrecked. You know, I'm destroying these and this is my zone of control. But then the other player's like, well, I actually get to take these bases and kill that base of yours as well. And you kind of have this thing where it's like, okay, so the top player, you end up with like, they split the top half and the other player gets the bottom half, right? And so you could split it that way, depending on where the armies go, right? Where the top player has pushed to the right and the bottom player has pushed to the left. And that's kind of cool because you get interesting movement in terms of how the map works. Or, like I said, you can just have that split line through the middle of the map where both players are on this exceptionally wide front. The problem is, if you're both in that scenario and you've both got all these edge bases, whoever attacks first is going to usually have an advantage, just like on 2000 Atmospheres, because bam, this army arrives and the other player can't get there in time to defend. By the time they move down there to defend, you attack in the north as well. And you hit that base as well. It's very hard to defend on such a wide front and have your units in the right position at the right time. So it's very interesting to see. Apparently, MaxPax was trying to split the map horizontally yesterday, for example. So this is kind of interesting to see, guys. Let's talk a little bit about some other features. So we've got dead space. So notice how there is a bit of dead space here. Say you've got Mutas flying into my Protoss base here, right? They can fly along here and take refuge here from any stalkers or anything. But to get in behind, they have to go past a bigger area of ground. Likewise, if I'm a Terran player and I'm defending a Warp Prism, I'm going to build a turret here and a turret there, and there's no way a Warp Prism can get into my base along that front. However, if they get in the back, Oracles, Mutas, Prisms, any sort of flying units, there is a nice big pocket of dead space to hide in the back of the base, and they can hit anywhere in the main or the natural. So once the units get in there, if they get in versus an unprepared player, it's a big problem. What about the other side? Same thing on the right side of the main. It goes right to the edge. You can build 2 turrets here. Nothing can get past that. So whilst there is some big patches of dead space around, so your mutas can't necessarily get cornered, your air units can't get cornered, it's also going to be hard to actually get in, right? Whereas there are some maps where you have a lot more dead space everywhere. So this one's kind of somewhere in the middle. You've got plenty of space to like hide your oracles and be annoying on, but getting in and out is going to be a little dangerous. What about push positions? Let's imagine I'm a Zerg player. This is my 3rd base. Tanks behind here, right? Tank behind there is going to reach all the way up to about this area here where these pylons are. That's pretty scary, man. That's pretty scary. If I don't take these rocks down as well, imagine tanks here, actually. They could just put tanks there. That's going to reach pretty deep, and they can drop marines and like be darting in and out. And so you're really going to want to take these rocks down if you're playing against a player who has longer ranged army than you. So if you're playing a Zealot style, probably want to tear this down versus a siege tank player, right? If you're playing mass, a Zerg style against Terran, you want to tear that down. Zerg style versus Protoss, you want to tear these rocks down. On the other hand, it does open up that very direct attack push path, so it's a little scary to do that, but that could be quite scary. Is this base down here actually safer and easier to defend? Well, if they get the push down here, they can put 2 tanks there, and then you're attacking around a corner, and the problem with this push path and this base is this is an unflankable push. What do you mean by unflankable, Pig? Well, if someone sets up a siege tank push here, you're flanking with Zealots or a big marine flank or Zerglings or Roaches. Well, what do you mean unflankable? You can't go around. This is all blocked area here. So you have to go. That's a very long detour. You have to do this big loop to get around. It's not unflankable, but it's very much hard to do. Most players, if they're doing that, are more likely to say, can't break this push, move me workers over to this base and just do a big counterattack on their natural instead. So definitely, if they can sneak a push down along this edge, it's going to be great. On the other hand, that's a very lengthy push path for the Terran to get to, for instance, in this scenario. If tanks want to come down here, siege up there, they're out of position for a long time with that army. Sometimes you see Terrans go for this sort of push path and they just get hit by an attack at the same time and they're like, damn, my army's out in a quarter of the map doing nothing, man. So definitely something you want to keep an eye on is those push paths. Through the middle of the map, we've got some nice like weird ledges here and stuff. So some sight blockers. You've got obviously a watchtower on the north side that's going to help with the fighting there. If you get that watchtower, it's going to give you great control over this northern side of the map. No space behind the minerals. Oh, Zerg players are not going to be happy about this one, guys. Oh, okay. So the reason why... This is what we call an adept orgasm. That's what that right there is. It looks actually a little wider than most of these choke points are on most maps, so maybe Zerglings can get a bit of angle and squeeze in next to her. But generally, this is the sort of mineral patch where 2 adepts can shade in, and you have to have 2 or 3 queens here to defend it or something, because those adepts, just melee units, can't really get at them. Likewise, if you're getting attacked by charge zealots, shove a roach or a queen or a marauder in there or something like that on hold position, or say Hellbat against a Zergling run by, it's just going to kill 50,000 melee units, right? Because they cannot get at it. So definitely something to keep in mind. It does mean you can't build turrets behind the mineral line, but hey, your main base is right above it. So that's kind of okay. You can still build a turret over there. It does also mean you have less space to run. So we often see Protoss players, for instance, walling off their base, and then a few banelings get in and you see them spread behind the mineral line, spreading off to the side. In this case, you're gonna have to make sure you leave an opening over here, or your probes, like, you know, when people wall this off and then banelings come in and the probes are just stuck in here. Because there's like a few gateways here and they're like, oh, we actually have nowhere to go, nowhere to spread. This is like kind of crazy. All right, so we do have a giant Reaper ledge over here, guys. Massive Reaper ledge. Can you wall it? Gonna be a question Protoss players have. I don't know, guys. Let's find out. I imagine that's going to be a pretty solid wall off. Yeah, this is an easy wall off, guys. So if you just put your pylon in the middle, guys, really easy to wall this one off. Obviously, you need to make sure those gateways or gateway cybercore are overlapping, and you can always check if it's worked because of that. But notice if you say build a pylon and then you build a gateway on a diagonal like that, so that's overlapping. You see how it's gone red? But if I go like this, that's not overlapping, is it? So that's never going to be blocking Reapers, probes. That'll block a Stalker from going through it, won't it? I think that'll block a Stalker from going through it. Not sure. Might block like a Ravager or a Stalker from getting through there, but it's not going to block a small unit. So you can block the Reaper ledge. There is no other Reaper ledge on this map. It's just that one. So there's one big Reaper ledge. It's not going to be a good map for Reapers because there's no other ledges elsewhere. So that cannot jump up and down because there's a big doodad there. There's no terrain. If you went 3-Rax Reaper, you'd have nothing to hide on. Oh, there's a mini Reaper ledge there. There's one little Reaper ledge there that you can jump up into that base. That's about it. I do like there's markers these days. Map makers are like, hey, here's a marker telling you where you can jump. There's even some little safety lights, some little traffic cones saying, jump here, Mr. Reaper. There is a ledge at the 9 o'clock. Is that what, 9 o'clock? Wait, 9. Isn't this 9 o'clock? Oh, there's one there as well. Okay. I guess that's the same thing as the 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock both have, yeah, the same ledge. But I don't think there's anything over here. No. Some cool bridges, though. They have flashing lights on them. Oh, there's a fountain down here, guys, with some cars parked around it. Oh, you got a picture of Manx, a statue. Ugh, wanker. Oh, wanker. This is kind of cool, though. Got some nice, like, pebbles and stuff. Got, like, a little town down here. Interesting. Oh shit, it's Darrow though. People don't live here no more. There's windows are smashed in, but the fans are still working. Fans. It's only one gate and a cybercore to wall off the natural? Really?
Nothing left in that mineral cluster.
No, that's only if you want the shit wall though, right? Yeah, that's it. That's it. Maybe if my pylon's... I think only if the pylon's further forward. Okay, so what you're talking about there. So apparently, guys, Milo's saying, oh, it's only one pylon, one gate. But that's if you put it in the choke point. Yeah, that's if you put it in the choke point. So the problem with putting it in the choke point is there's a lot of surface area on the gateway, I believe. I don't think there's a way... Because I saw MaxPax, I think it was, do it yesterday. And his gateway had a massive amount of surface area on it. And I was immediately like, ooh, two building wall off does feel good. Right? Putting a gateway in a cybercore. I think this one's better. Maybe it wasn't max specs. It was someone yesterday did it, and the gateway was sticking out like a sore thumb. Yeah. No, this is a good... Yeah, okay. So that's pretty easy. It's not too bad. I mean, if we think about it, this map sucks so much ass for 12 pool that it's not really a concern. I'm thinking about 12 pools here, guys. No, you normally don't want to wall off like this versus Terran. So I think you would do the further back pylon and leave a bigger opening, because keep creating a choke like this is obviously a nightmare for a lot of situations against Terran. You need free movement. But yeah, I think this is a pretty decent move, because 12 pools kind of sucks on this map. Takes forever to get across here, 38 seconds anyway, right? Takes a pretty long rush distance. And as much as, yes, you could hit 4 Zerglings all on the top side of the gateway, I feel like I could make a 12 pool work against people just because there's good surface area. But yeah, you could hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could hit it with 5 Zerglings and then have the other Zerglings ready to dart in. It's definitely something to be wary of. It is something to be wary of, is that 12 pool might be surprisingly strong just because people are going to have so much surface area on at least one of these buildings if it's a 2 gateway wall off. Just something to keep in mind. It's not a short rush distance, so probably not a big deal, but definitely something to check out. Cool. Yeah, this will be just how you wall off later, just to stop run bys and stuff, I guess. Obviously, you don't need that. Build some cannons back here behind it, and then obviously that can get taken down though as well. So this only does so much for you. It's only because, and then you do still have fathers up here. It's cute. It's cute. I mean, you'll definitely see some people go for it. Yeah, it's not a bad move by any means. Yeah, cool. So one thing we want to look at here on Cosmic Sapphire is where is the Overlord pillar, and I believe this pillar here will keep an Overlord safe, but it doesn't give a lot of vision. Notice we can't see on top of that pillar. It's high ground. Whereas we can see on top of these crates. These crates are not high ground. That's basically just a shipping container doodad. But that there is a pillar, but it doesn't see the whole natural. If you put an Overlord here, it's got a little bit of dead space on, but it's not high ground. And even if it was, it would be spotted by a unit up there. So there's no way to just see the entire exit of the base. From here, you can see one gas. I'm not sure if the Overlord can spot the other gas. I think it's out of range, but you could always poke forward and at least check the gases. So what I do really like about the modern maps that we're getting in is the Overlord pervert spots are a little bit less intrusive. It feels a little bit less like the maps that are being selected have got a Zerg pervert observation deck, you know? It did feel a little bit like we got to the point where it was just such an accepted thing that it was like, hey, do you want to buy a Starcraft map? And you're going in, you're looking around, the real estate's showing you, and you're like, oh, what's this, there's a room behind the mirror in my bedroom. And they're like, oh yeah, that's where the Overlord sits. He can watch you making love. And you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to buy this house. This is fucking creepy, dude. And you're like, oh no, it just comes. It's part of the package. There's an Overlord that's going to watch you have sex. And you're like, okay, that was weird. So the Overlord sitting over the natural right there with a pillar, forcing the opponents to get air. It was kind of a bit intrusive. I think it's nice to have pillars a little further back. We already saw this on Berlingrad, for instance, where the pillar was like basically all the way out here. So you could see units leaving, but you couldn't really see anything in the actual base with it. So that's like a really nice thing. Okay, guys, so Data C is 148 by 124 size. You can see it's a big map, and this is a map where we saw some players really struggle to break turtled up players. Because the third base and the fourth base are so close, and there's like lots of tight ramps and all this sorts of stuff. So it'd be really interesting to see how this goes. Apparently the ramps got modified a little bit. Yeah, the initial 4 bases are very secure. A winding path to the opponent through the low ground can be shortened by destroying the rocks. On the sides, there are watchtowers above a rich gas base that helps against proxy tactics, but doesn't actually cover too much of the map otherwise. All right, guys, so you take your natural, but then you get a third here. And what's crazy about this third base is you've got this ledge right above it. So you can actually put a tank here, and it completely covers that ramp and actually reaches a little bit in front of the command center. So as a Terran, you're never going to die to, like, if you're playing siege tank style against Protoss, unless they get a prism with zealots on your tanks on the high ground ledge, you should always be able to just lift your command center and run your SCVs away and not die to a big zealot bust, right? Which is a big problem some Terran players run into. So that's kind of crazy. It's also just the fact that, hey, your natural wall-offs here, I mean, you could just center all your units here and you're defending your natural choke point, like easily this side, you're defending here. It's such a centralization of power all around this one area on the natural. Now, there is a good area in the main to drop, right? You've got this whole edge. Okay, fair enough, but you can zone it out a little bit. It's going to be hard. You're going to need like, 3 turrets or cannons to fully zone it, right? It's going to be kind of hard. And then likewise, you get a 4th base up here. So once you have 4 bases, you have to worry about defending these 2 choke points, these 2 ramps there, and then this ramp here. And that's pretty damn tight. That is very, very closed off. So the 4 bases are very easy to defend. Now let's obviously talk about rush distance. Oh, that's a rock. How about we just go in, let's just go in game and test it, shall we? So this one's meant to have a 36-second, according to Wikipedia, which I believe is just based off Zombie Grub testing it. So let's go, guys. We're just going to click it from there to there, and we'll see exactly when it goes. You know what? I'm going to actually use me stopwatch this time, am I? I'm going to use me stop. No, I'm not going to bother. I'm too lazy. It's all right. So let's go. So that's going to leave the ramp 247, maybe 248. We've clicked it there, and we'll see how long it takes to get across the map. So we can see here the most direct route. This is without any of the rocks taken down, of course. So we've got site blockers, these ridges here, which obviously you can't drop units on top of those, but they are big site blockers. You can both put overlords on them. You can see that whole middle of the map. There's lots of winding territory. There are crab beetles on the map. This is, of course, under to sea, guys. Under to sea. Under to sea. It's just, yeah, fucking map makers and their silly memes, man. So that was about 323, I believe there. So that sounds about right, guys. About 36 seconds. Yeah, it's pretty similar. It is the same as real life time, guys. For those who don't know, we've got someone in chat saying they're different to real life seconds. It wasn't harder to Swarm, but in Legacy of and Wings of Liberty, but in Legacy of the Void, they made it real human seconds in game, guys. So you can see there, the rush distance isn't too long, but it's a bit of a winding path, isn't it? If you break the rocks there and here, it's going to be a little bit quicker to get across the map. But it's fascinating because you get these 4 bases so turtled up, not that much distance between you, and then you expand out to the corners. And you've got a rich gas base there with 8 minerals, you've got a full base there, and you definitely can see this map getting split. Let's tab out and take a look here, okay? So you go through these tall grass, and that's your main push path. Now, outside of that, obviously, you can take the rocks down, open it up a little bit faster, a bit more direct. Other than that, though, if you guys are on 4 base versus 4 base, obviously, you can branch off. You can go down this way to attack. You can go up this way to go that way. There's a few different attack paths you can have. But imagine, if you're 4 base, where do you expand? Now, some people will take this base here, but to go beyond that is going to be pretty hard for this bottom player, which is why what we've seen mostly is players go 5th base. I actually saw Scarlet take this as the 6th base, though she was in a dominant position, and then this is the 7th base. So she said, left side of the map is mine. This is my territory on the left of this line, and beyond was mega turtled in these 4 bases in the game that I watched, right? But you can imagine as well, if it was a bit more even, the Terran player could say that's the Zerg, this is the Terran. They could say, I'm going to push in and invade your territory and take that as my 5th on my push path, right? As I'm sieging forward, and then take those for myself. And the Zerg might have to be like, well, fine, I'll go take all these bases, down there, and kind of swap their economy to the bottom right as that whole top left just gets stolen from them, right? So you could see it could go that way. Obviously, I haven't seen it, but who knows? Maybe you could just see the top player is the one who actually goes and says, no, I'm splitting the map. This is my side. And then the bottom player, once again, you could split it that way. So like many of the new maps, I feel there's a choice. We're drawing a compass on it. Is it split across the middle or split left to right? And it is going to come down to player choice a little bit. So it's going to be really fascinating to see how these maps play out. Is there a dominant way it's always played for a while, and then someone switches it up and it's a different way? if anyone's going to just expand along the edges of the map and buck the trend, it's going to be like Hass in PvT. Imagine Hass is in the top right, guys. He's going to take his 4th here, his 5th here, his 6th here, doing his 100 probe mass zealot style. He's just going to expand along the edges of the map because that's what he likes to do, right? He likes to go right up along the edge of the map so he can't get dropped too hard and use his mobility. All right, guys, let's go look around the map a little bit. So we measured the rush distance. We've taken a look around. Let's take a little bit more of a look around. So let's really quickly host up that mod. None of the maps are on ladder yet, unfortunately, guys. But I'm hoping soon after Valencia, but we will see. Let's use this mod. All right, guys, we're going to be using the SimCity tester mod here. It's going to allow us to just build things instantly, okay? Too sketchy. Thank you for the 2-month resub, dude. Glad you're getting used to the content, mate. Getting used to the Starcraft. Lots of people onboarding recently. I love it. When is the Bronze Jam segment? As soon as the map segment's over, mate. All right. You can also, with this mod, it looks like build an SCV or a drone, which is cool. All right, guys. So, looking at the ramp here, pretty standard map. Oh, so that's interesting. Man, it's so weird having it all instantly build, eh? So I think what we want to do is okay, so you can... Oh, no! Oh, you can't delete it well if it's not powered. That's funny. Oh, that's funny. So I gotta power it, then I can delete it. Because it's an ability. So I think you want to go probably a bit further back from the ramp. Usually my general rule for walling a ramp that I'm not familiar with, guys, is I just put that power field a little bit further back. On this, you've got plenty of space. That's not going to block your nexus. And then you basically just find the edge of the ramp with your first building. You check that solid by moving down here and clicking there and seeing if you can squeeze through. Then you create the choke point. And a lot of people do this. That's bad because there's no overlap. You want to always have an overlap of at least one space. If you can have 2 or 3 spaces like that, that's even better. And that there is a very, very safe, solid wall off. That first gateway is sticking out a lot, which is why I would probably put that first gateway down another space. Because if you're getting like 12 pulled or something, guys, look at how many Zerglings can attack that at once. Same with if you're getting Ling flooded. Yeah, you can wall off behind it pretty easily, right? So it's not the worst. Definitely something to keep in mind, though. Now, okay, cool. So we see the wall off is pretty chill. What about the Reaper ledge? There is a Reaper ledge up here. It's got the little fuck ledge on it that does look down in the mineral line, similar to 2K atmospheres. You could just go, I think, with this one like this and put the pylon on one side. Normally with these ledges, I like to put the pylon in the middle because I feel it has more room for error in case I derp. So we're just going to go there. And there, and you can, once again, if you're never sure about a wall, guys, click there. Hey, check it out. We've walled off the Reaper ledge. Isn't that great? We can, even with this mod, do that. So we can get that Reaper there. Now, I don't think there's any ledges anywhere else other than that one. Doesn't look like there's too many ledges in general for Reapers to abuse. Lots of flat areas with just rocks and sight blockers and all this sort of stuff. Now, will you be able to just grenade yourself over? Of course, that is always a possibility, but pro gamers will have to find the right spot. I think this one's going to be pretty hard. Maybe up here is probably the best chance of doing that, right? And that might get him inside, and it does. So there's often a way whenever you wall the Reaper ledge, if they're fancy, you'll see pros do that one, guys, to get inside your base. But yeah. So what are the main things that I love about this map, guys? Well, very simple. Units float up when they die. Oh, hello! Can we get a bloody corpse? What's going on? Really? Well, I mean, there's a few chunks floating up at least, but normally you get a bit more of a corpse. It must be just to do with the way these workers kill each other. It's stupid workers, man. Small units don't have a corpse, apparently, guys. Marines do. Marines have a corpse, and Reapers normally float up as well. But it must depend on what kills them. Anyways, guys, in terms of that, what else do we have? Like I said, the tank on this ledge is going to cover so much of that base. So tanks on the ledge, tanks on the high ground going to cover it. But if you're Protoss versus Zerg, you just keep your whole army here, your third and your natural are defended. And then getting out to your fourth is also so easy, right? Because we already saw Skillis yesterday playing this map and just basically being like, oh yeah, I'll just full wall. He's like, you know what? And he just basically, every extra gateway he built was just he created a full wall off over here with some cannons behind it. And then he could move his whole army up to just defend this one choke point, which was super sick, especially if you are... Oh, look at that though. Look at that. Isn't that funny? There's a little unbuildable area on top of that. No? Okay, so that looks like that looks like it's an opening, guys. Be warned. It looks like an opening there. It is not. So I tried to build on that. I couldn't. That is actually a wall off, okay? Now, what about this? That is even a wall off. Can you believe it, guys? Even that's a wall off. So there's a funny little area here where it is unbuildable on the edge. Keep that in mind. Okie doke. Tank pushes over here across the fourth could be good. If someone's pushing this base, they could tank push along that edge. Generally, though, some pretty good wide flankable areas, and it's going to be difficult to do. I do imagine, though, Terran players in TVZ, the middle of this map looks like Romanticide to me, guys. Do you guys remember Romanticide? Lots of pushes through the site blockers and the ledges in the middle of the map. So there will be these pushes through the middle, especially if Zerg's trying to play Mutas, where that parade push is just going right up the guts through the center and creating this really difficult to stop push, because these pieces of terrain can have tanks behind them, widow mines behind the rocks and in front of the rocks through the site blockers. A melee army is going to suffer quite a lot. If you're playing Lingbane versus Biomine, for instance, or Biotank, there's so many of these weird little site blockers and ledges and cliffs to be up against. Definitely it's going to be weird. However, if those rocks are down, the Zerg can just kind of swarm in. So Terran's going to be trying to stop Zerg from tearing these rocks down. Zerg's going to be trying really bloody hard to do it. All right, what have we not talked about yet? So, guys. Pillars! Where are the pillars? Okay, so let's take a look. We've got an Overlord here. So we've got a pillar on the natural there. So you've got a nice little pillar. You don't see too much, right? So that Overlord will see most of the natural from there, but it only sees one gas geyser. And it is, once again, something where I think units could sneak out and attack out without you seeing it. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. The Overlord only sees one of the gases. You might see a lot of Protoss players put a gas there just to let the Overlord see it, start mining from it, and they pull off a gas in the main, and they're actually doing a charge cell it all in or something like that. Other than that, I don't think there's any high ground here, but there's enough dead space that the Overlord can hide there in amongst the fish, and it's going to be hard for the enemy to kill it, so you could put an Overlord there. Obviously, these ledges in the middle, these little cliff pinnacles are going to be great hiding spots for Overlords to chill on. And you've got the dead space. Let's talk about the dead space a little bit, shall we? So the dead space, you've got what looks like a much easier path in the back of the base. Even if there's turrets or spores on the edge, they're not going to get many shots off. So you can get back into this giant dead space behind the natural really easily. So that's something to be aware of. Hard to zone out the edges on this map. You need like a turret there, and a turret there to actually kill the prisms trying to get in. On the other side, it's going to be a bit easier to stop them getting in, but there's still a lot of surface area, right? If you have a turret here, and a turret here, it's quite a lot of area. I can imagine in TVT, doom drops are going to feature pretty heavily because you're going to have players move their army down, be out front to defend. And if a doom drop can get in that left side of the main, I guarantee you this is going to be a very popular drop angle. As a result, we will start seeing a lot of people build like turrets and cannons over on this side of the map. That's going to be interesting to see. Other than this back area here, which is obviously very nice to get into, remember the bases are so compact and close together. I still don't see it being like the most amazing Muta map because you don't have that much space to cover as a ground army, right? Okay, cool. I split some units in the back. Yes, you're annoying, but where can you go from this back area? You can't really get through the main without, you know, there's not that much dead space on the other side of it, right? Because this is just ground and ground. I mean, you can definitely be like, hey, the Stalkers are chasing you here. You get down on the low ground, kill some stuff. Stalkers blink down. You go back around, back up. They blink back up on the high ground. You go back to the low ground. We could do stuff like this all day. Yeah, there's a bit of air movement. Still some dead space in the back, but it's all right. Remember, guys, there is a watchtower in the left as well. And you've got that rich gas base up there. No gold base on this map. People are saying, could you just wall off with one Reaper and one gate? Can we wall off with just one? I think so, guys. That looks like a solid wall off to me. Yeah, you see that's blocked there. Super easy to jump over, but you can see here. Okay. No, you cannot. You cannot wall this off with just one pylon and one gateway, guys. Tried it, but no. Okay. Terrain is camo for the burrowed mark. Oh, okay. So on this map, it can be hard to see the burrowed Widowmine marks on this terrain, apparently. Ah, because it's quite dark and there's all these little pock marks. Now, obviously, if you guys have that issue, hybrid graphics, guys, it'll show up just fine. I might have that issue because I'm an idiot who wants to make the stream pretty for my viewers, and so maybe I'll struggle to see it a little more. Creeps are always difficult to see Widowmines, let's be real. Thankfully, you have creep spread there, so hopefully you notice them burrow. This was made by Killer Smile, this map, guys. So shout out to Killer Smile for making a beautiful map. Can you drop a tank on the first pillar? On here? Yeah, you might be able to. I don't actually know. All right, guys. The moment of truth. Oh, okay, guys. So I don't know if they know that you can do this or not. This was removed from... Wait. Can we siege 2 tanks on here?
Picking up or dropping off.
No, there's not enough space for 2, but you could fit a bunch of Marines there as well. Oh my! Now, let's keep in mind, guys, who's gonna let you siege there? What does that do? This has to be fixed now, says Sinister. Why? Why does it need to be fixed? Who's gonna... This is the 3rd base. What are you gonna die to a 1-base tank drop? It doesn't even reach the main base. It's fine. Move a fucking spine crawler over or something. Nah, this is fine. This is fine, guys. I don't think this is an issue at all. So there is a tank ledge. There is an OP tank ledge, but a Zerg player, by the time that gets there, should have a 3rd base here and like queens out here and stuff anyway. Definitely. People are like, maybe TVT, it's a pain, but every Terran unit is ranged. The only thing this stops is SCVs from hitting it, right? So it stops SCVs from getting pulled onto it. I mean, it's a cute spot, but it's not that different to just dropping the tank on the low ground, right? It's the exact same thing for TVT, really. So, I think a lot of people kind of might be like, ah, but it doesn't hit the main base. It only reaches to there. It could be annoying for sure as a harassment versus Zerg. I still think the more popular drop angle will be up here, guys, because you're right in the mineral line, and it's this like so far back from the front, right? Whereas like if you're playing a TVT, everyone's going to take the 3rd here. I do wonder, will people take the 4th up here? Because even if you take the 4th here, there's so much dead space along the edge of the map on this side that you'd want to be building turrets in the very top left corner of the map. So we'll have some Marines there or something. Could you build a turret on that ledge? Yeah, of course, guys. If you can fit a siege tank, of course you could fit a turret there. I don't know why you do it, though. It's pretty silly. Oh, no, really? I thought a tank took up the same space as a turret. No, yeah, you guys... Okay, good question. Good question. I'm dumb. Apparently, a tank does not take up as much space as a turret.
Picking up or dropping off.
I feel like it does. Doesn't it?
In the rear with the gear.
I mean, it definitely blocks more space than a fucking turret. It blocks like 7 spaces. It's weird.
We've completely mined out.
It'll be a very cool position defensively. Oh, I like that, guys. I do like that. You just leave a tank there. Versus Protoss and versus Zerg. Oh, this is where we're going to defend our 3rd, guys. Oh, that's sick. Yeah, and then you... Yeah.
You scared me.
And you can build a sensor tower here as well, guys.
Waiting on you. Let's go.
This is the defensive setup. You guys know Maru is going to do this, right? You know Maru's going to build a sensor tower and a tank. Hells yeah. So sick. Like Stalkers blink and just one-shot it. Yeah, it's like Ravagers just bile it down. But like, it looks really cool. They're playing like Lingbane Hydra, you know. Early stage, Bass Zealot. It's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun. This one is Inside Out. This is the map that had the Burning Blizzard office on it, but they did remove the Blizzard logos from that, I believe, now that it's going on the map pool. You can expand in a straight line along the edges of the map, guys. Or, of course, we could go for the other path, right? So, main, natural, third, fourth. Yeah, you could do that. I think more likely we'll have this as the 4-base setup. And that 5th base in the corner does seem a little bit more attractive. I think you're more likely to see the players have this sort of base layout versing each other, guys. And obviously it's a pretty small map. However, these rocks there and there and there do add a little bit of distance. You've also got defensive rocks that just kind of widen the shorten the choke point on the third. But you can imagine, so while those are all up, it's going to take a little while to get across the map, isn't it? But the moment those are down, you're going to have, say, like this 3rd or 4th base to each other, just straight through the middle. It's going to be very much like not much time to react. Thinking of Berlin, Grad, and these sort of maps where those pushes just arrive at your army very, very quickly. Cool. All right, guys. Okie dokie. First things first, let's send a worker from our base to their base. So we will be leaving our ramp at about 15 seconds. Now that was not the center point of the ramp, but good enough. 15 seconds, guys. And let's watch as we head across this map. Yes, I did, High Flyer. So that's the Burning Blizzard office there on the left side, guys. We've got lava. So I like this. The snow and lava contrast is pretty cool. Got some cool trees on it as well, some frozen trees. Remember, it was 15 seconds, guys, and 48 seconds. That's a 33-second rush distance. That is pretty darn fast, guys. So, Frost Giant SC2 map. Oh, this map used to be called Frost Giant, but they changed it to Inside Out because I think, obviously, Blizzard doesn't want to be active. It was changed Inside Out when the map became a part of the ladder. Right, because obvious reasons, right? Don't want to be supporting their new competitor necessarily. So this is a 32-second... Didn't I just say 34 seconds, guys? No, I said 33. This says 32 seconds. But obviously, I think those rush distance measurements were taken by Zombie Grub, I believe people were saying. I don't know who actually does the rush distance necessarily. People saying, oh, Zombie Grub did that. I don't know if it was her or someone else, but I'm always within a second, less or more. So we're not doing a perfect method by any means of recording it, but it does seem to be about 32 seconds, which for those who don't know, Beckett was our most recent very quick rush distance map. It was a 31-second rush distance. This is the map when Beckett came out, everyone was having nightmares with Clem's Reaper, Maru's Reaper getting to their base so early. This is the first map where, for instance, Zest started opening up with, he would grab one of his first probes against Terran and just send it across the map so that it could get there early enough to block the barracks going down for a couple of seconds and slow down that Reaper getting across the map. It would also, of course, just give him early scouting of what was happening. But it was these short rush distance maps where you're more likely to see people just like send a worker straight across and try to like block their barracks for a couple seconds and disrupt that build order as much as you can. Let's go first of all, Reaper ledges, guys. It looks like Reapers should be able to jump down there. Let's go get a Reaper out. And all right, no, Reaper can jump there, apparently. Can we jump up here as well?
Yes, indeed. Let's do this.
Okay, so anywhere along here, we can jump up and down. What about here? And there! Okay, guys, welcome to Reaper Town. There is no walling Reapers out on this map. It is not possible. That is not possible, which means Protoss players are just going to be doing the old classic. They're going to be going like this. So you create a little one-space choke point there that you can always block, and you build the cyber core back there, right? That way, at least you got a semi-wall, somewhat standard. On the natural, there's no Reaper ledge there, guys. So that's totally fine. Something to keep in mind, though. So Reaper ledge is there. Well, check it out. What about pervert pillars, guys? We have here what we call a dumbass pillar. Pig, what's a dumbass pillar? Well, a dumbass pillar is where they put a pillar there that is not useful at all. It's just there to trap people that are dumbasses into losing their overlord the first time they play on this map. So who made this map, guys? Can you guys tell me who made this map? Because they named the map Frost Giant. They had literal burning blizzard officers on it. And they've put a fake pillar here to trick people. How much of a troll is the map maker for this map? How much are they? It's -0. What a troll. -0 is trying to troll. So the whole reason this pillar doesn't work, guys, is a unit can just stand here and that's the same elevation. So obviously you can see the freaking... So this is literally the overlords just standing there. You're like, oh, sweet, I could see everything from here. And they're like, yeah, you know we can literally see you from there, right? You know, you know we can see you. And there's not much dead space or anything, so there's nowhere for the overlord to hide. The overlord can sit back here and spot the gases, but there's no free vision there. What about outside the base? Well, there is a pervert pillar over here, right? So we do have a pervert pillar further back, but it only sees a bit of the forward base area. There's another one down here. Once again, there's no free vision over these middle paths. If you want to do that, your opponent at least is going to know that overlord's there, because you can kind of hide in this dead space. It's going to be hard for, like, if a stalker runs here and hits you, you run that way. Stalker runs that way, you run that. It's going to take a while for, like, marines or stalkers to clean up an overlord that's just hanging out in the lava. And this way you can kind of see the push path across the map. Now, I don't know if this is actually high ground or not, so let me just bring a probe and see. I don't think this is. I'm pretty sure the Burning Blizzard Office kind of doodads here. It looks like I can see on top of that whole thing. Maybe? Maybe there's a spot in the middle you can hide on, but I'm pretty sure it's not like an extra elevation or anything like that. Cool. What about wall-offs, guys? Well, okay. Let's check the wall-off real quick, I guess. We want to go like here, I guess. A bit of an odd... It's an odd wall. We can go... I think like there is what I'd probably be doing. And then we just go like bam, bam, bam. Something like that. Cool. I guess we could... We could do it like that. Be a little bit cleaner, I think. Problem. Yeah, people might so some pros you might see wall like this. Now I always tell you to never wall with a diagonal. But the reason why they would do this, walling with a diagonal, is because if they do get ling flooded or anything, they can, or baneling busted, they can wall off with a big 3x3 building. One of the things you've always got to watch out for as a player is if you end up with this sort of wall off as a Protoss player, all you can wall off with is shit buildings like pylons or batteries. You can't fit a gateway or a cyber core in there, one of these chunky buildings that's much tankier. So just a little thing, which is why you might see this diagonal wall off. I'm not sure which one I'll opt for, but just something to keep in mind. In terms of push paths around the map, as you take your third here, there is like, obviously, check this out. If you got this as your third, and then as a Protoss, and then a Terran gets 2 tanks there, around these rocks, oh my god, that's going to be hard to deal with, right? They're going to reach really far. So that's going to be super annoying. So definitely something where, you know, you've got to watch out for that a little bit. And you can be like, cool, I'm mining here. We're doing our thing. You can see if we get some tanks there. They reach the gas. Oh, do they also reach the Nexus? Oh my god. They both reach the Nexus from there as well. So you can see that's really hard to get to. So you want to take down those rocks. You obviously might want to take these rocks down as well at some point to open that path up, open up these wider paths across the map. So definitely there's going to be a lot of tearing the rocks down to make this map much more accessible to each other. This base down here has a pretty normal choke into it. The dead space, you can definitely cut off the dead space here with some turret. Same thing here on the main. They have to get through this little scary point where a couple of turrets could block it off. And there's a little tiny pocket of dead space in the corner, but that's about it. So not that much dead space on this map. Bit more of a ground-focused map. There's no dead space to hide down here. Nothing like that. In terms of like cannon rushes, I never go through cannon rushes, guys. People will, I'm sure, always find abusive cannon spots, but we will get to that when we get to it. So cool to see. Definitely some wary spots. I mean, this tank position looks scary, but how does your opponent get here, guys? They have to go all the way around this sort of path on the top of the map. Definitely something you could intercept them before they get there, break these rocks, that sort of thing. I think that's about it. People are saying Proxy Reaper every game, TVT here. It's definitely a very big ledge, and you can jump Reapers here. Wow, did you guys see that shit?
That's all? Agreed. Let's
That looked kind of funny. Anyways, you can jump Reapers there. I don't think you can jump on this bit. No, you can jump on that bit too. Okay.
I'm going.
So it's fine, guys. If you get Reaper rushed on this map, you just want to build a bunker here, and then you put one here, and then you also put one here. Just triple bunker to cover that, okay, guys? Easy peasy. Definitely going to be a very much a... Yeah, TVT is going to be very Reaper rush heavy. You're going to basically send an SCV to go check all over here for Proxy Reapers every game. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of people opening with either Marauders or their own 2-Rex Reaper just to stay safe. Yeah. Obviously, triple bunker is ridiculous. On the other hand, if they do have the barracks up here, you don't need to necessarily cover everywhere, right? If their barracks are up here, you could technically just bunker here and here. And then at least the Reapers have to go the long way around to get in from the other side. Still think you definitely want to play heavier on units. This is not going to be a 1-Rax expand map in TVT, that's for sure. All right, guys, we're going to go into Moondance now. So let's measure the worker. It's going to leave the ramp at 14 seconds, just as it ticked onto 14 seconds. And this map was made by Maris. You can see she loves her kind of like purple highlights and kind of like twilighty themes on the maps, contrasting with the very lunar kind of white reflecty light that's all over this map. It is called Moondance for a reason. Got some colorful plants and stuff as well. So that was 14 seconds. The probe left the base. My God, this is a pretty short rush distance. 14 seconds up to 44 seconds. My Lord, that is a 30-second rush distance. Holy shit. For what looks like not that small a map, only a 30-second rush distance. Let's compare that to what it says on the official page. It says 31 seconds. They're even shorter. So 30 to 31 seconds, even shorter than Beckett, guys, or the same as Beckett. So very, very short rush distance there. Ooh-wee! Ooh-wee! 9 bases per player. So there's a lot of bases, and there is a pocket base as well. So let's talk a little bit about it. Okay, so you're going to spawn not there. No, no, no. That's your free base. You go here, guys. Main base, natural, and then you can take a full third at the front, or you get 6 mineral patches, one gas in the back. Now, we saw one of the greediest games of all time yesterday, Skillis versus Scarlet. You know what happened, guys? Skillis basically got a Stalker, killed the Overlord, and then dropped a 3-minute third base. You know what, though? Scarlet, who'd taken this front third, she took a 3:30 fourth base in the back to counter it. Even though she didn't know, she guessed that was happening. And then he took a 5-minute fourth base here. And then she took a fucking 5-minute fifth base as well. Or 4:30 fifth base or something like that. So it was... She had almost 90 workers, and he was on about 75, 80 by 6 minutes into the game. And it was one of the greediest, silliest games I've ever seen of StarCraft. So this happened just yesterday in the Weekly Cup. You guys can see that one on my Procasts YouTube channel. I've never seen such greed before. Obviously, players are still just figuring out the maps. But definitely fascinating to see. Now, we saw the rush distance. I think it was like that the probe went straight through the middle of the map. Now, these are all sight blockers. We've got sight blockers there as well. And yeah, I mean, it seems pretty straightforward in terms of where you're going to expand. So if we just say, okay, that's your third, that's your free, not quite a fourth, but almost. You could expand down here for your fifth, but it really does feel like both sides are just going to split off. I would imagine this section and this section, right? I think that's your territory. That's my territory. Now, what if someone does try and expand along the edges? I always talk about, hey, expanding all the way along the edge. You could do it. You could split it this way. You could absolutely do that, right? Obviously, that's going to come to a head very quickly if your opponent tries to expand like this, and then this area becomes a huge point of contention. That's definitely something to keep your eyes on. I don't think that's going to happen very often, though. I can't really imagine that. I do think most of the time we are going to see people just kind of split across, like I said, from across here. And then you've got, of course, attack paths down the bottom. You've got attack paths through there, through there, through there. There's a lot of different paths where, once again, as you take bases, Especially once you get past your first 5 or 6 bases, you do get really, you're going to have a lot of fighting. I don't think we have any rich gas bases or anything, but let's take a look in-game and test it out. All right, guys, first things first, let's get our Reaper test, shall we? Okie dokie. You go there, you go there. All right, where can the Reaper go? Where can we go? Here? What about here? Can we, no? There's grass. There's grass blocking it. Okay, so it's just here, here. Okay, you can't jump on the very edge. Okay. That hatchery is not in a good spot. Let's get rid of that because we don't want that creep blocking everything. Let's go build that one in the middle of the map. Okay, can you block this path would of course be the question that people are going to ask. That is not going to block. Bad placement. Does that block? I think that'll block. Yeah, that'll block. So there we go, guys. That's how you're going to Reaper Wall. So you can Reaper Wall this map, and there's no other jump-in paths because we aren't seeing a lot of natural ramps on these maps. That's something I'm noticing here. Not many maps with a natural ramp, hey. Is there a way to jump up here, though? Yes, there is. Keep in mind, I was casting Beyond yesterday, and he actually bugged his Reaper out here. He wanted to jump to the right side. Notice you cannot jump to the right side, guys. He lost his first Reaper while doing a 3x Reaper, and he was not too happy about that. So keep in mind that little right side is not jumpable. It may look it, but it is not. Okay, guys? You can kind of jump there, but this corner is a bit buggy. So just think of this as a non-jumping zone. You can see I kind of got him to jump there one time, didn't I? I think it felt like he could jump up from there. So he can jump up there, but he can't jump down there. I'm not really sure what's going on there. Just a funny Reaper spot where Beyond was not too happy about that yesterday. But, you know, you figure things out. You live, you learn. So Reaper path there, and obviously this one here as well. So that's totally fine. That's pretty standard. What about our pervert spots? Okay, so what do we got? No pillars? No pillars? Holy crap! What are we, just anti-pervert now? Do we hate pervert? I mean, you've got some dead space you can hang out in, so that's nice. You can come around the back with the Overlord. Free path into the back. And that's very good, because you can see the gases. You can get in to see if they've taken the third base. That's pretty nice. You can also get an Overlord right into, like, here, closer to the main base. And there's a lot of space where the Overlord could come from here, could come from here, could come from here, could come from here. So if a player commits multiple Marines and Stalkers and is really on point, they'll be able to block it and hide tech here. This is going to be the hiding spot. But if they're not on point, that Overlord could get in before they realize and see quite a surprising amount of stuff. So we'll be very curious to see how that goes. But overall, no Overlord pillars out there. What about on the map? Do we have Overlord pillars? We've got an Overlord pillar there, little pervert pillar. That is not a pillar. That's a pillar out here. So there's a few on the map to kind of give you some nice little pervert spots, but not too many. There's only a couple. There's like one out there. So you can put an Overlord there. You can put an Overlord up here as well, above this base. So that's actually, yeah, we're moving away from Overlord pillars. This is the map pool where Zerg will not get as much of that free vision that the Protoss and Terran do get a bit annoyed at, right? Hey, I gotta build a Phoenix or a Viking every game to push their scouting back. It's bullshit, man. I'm always up for big changes. I don't see why it needs to be there every single game. Rush distance, attack paths, Overlord pervert spots, Reaper ledges, and expansion pattern. I think we've about covered it. To think about it more, obviously one thing we do want to check just a little bit, or point out at least I should say, is so because this here, oh, you can't fit tanks back there. Okay, that's quite good. Okay, I was wondering, I was like, squeezing some tanks sieged up there would be really good. Obviously, you can still put a tank there or down here. So these tanks covering a large amount of your third base is definitely a real thing. And these guys here do reach over to hit the depot in the wall off. And of course, on the other side, they'll probably be able to reach the add-on as well on the barracks. So in TVT, you've still got that spawn disadvantage depending on which side of the map you're on, which is pretty standard at this point. They can get a tank siege up there. Lots of Doom drop space in the main again. I guess is the other thing that I'd point out, right, is you got units at the front and then bam, that Doom Drop comes along in, sieges up in the back of the base. Could be very real. What about sieging up this base, right? I guess down here is probably the spot. Maybe up here you can wedge them in a corner there and they could reach pretty far. But otherwise you can reach there. You don't quite reach the Nexus, but hard to get around the corner. Similar to Glittering Ashes and that. It's like, yeah, it can still get flanked though, these tanks, but it's something of a nook. There's no beautiful, like, obvious corner other than here maybe, but it's not the most amazing. There. Yeah, I mean, you could push from this angle, would be a bit harder for your opponent to flank, because to flank it, they'd have to go all the way around. I don't see any super abusable positions. There's high ground, low ground dynamics. There are choke points. There are a lot of site blockers in the middle, which will create some awkward areas for some interesting engagements and so on. But I'd say this is a pretty straightforward map, other than the fact that this free base in the back and the very defensible setup is going to be really nice. What I want to really take my hat off to is this terrain feature here. If this wasn't here, a person can just set up their army in this spot and just so easily defend the natural, defend the third, move to the main. But having this here, it creates a little bit of movement between those bases. It's a bit harder to get between the bases to defend. And I do like that. So units defending over here, it's a bit harder for them to get over and defend run-bys into the natural and that sort of stuff. So I think this bit of terrain here, so they can't just centralize their forces as a defender in one blob and kind of block everything, it's actually really huge. There's a 3-pylon cannon cage next to the gas in the main. Oh, really? Hi. This is not that hard to stop. Unfortunately, most StarCraft players are incompetent, so they won't be able to stop this sort of thing. Because they don't know how to attack move workers or, you know, attack a pylon. I know that's really tough for a lot of players. You can only fit one cannon in there, so I don't think that's the worst. It could be annoying. I think a lot of players will struggle with it, but does it really matter? Let's see, by the way, if we go to the corner and then put that down, that should push me out, right? No. Maybe it's because it builds so fast. Maybe that's why. Let's go here. Maybe here. All right, you're gonna build the gas and then cancel it to get out. That's how you do it. I think if people just attack that pylon and then attack this pylon, they should be able to, yeah, by the time the cannon gets up, they'll be able to do it, which means the cannon rusher needs to come in with another probe and get another pylon down here and finished in time to actually power the cannon. I don't think you end up behind defending this. Unless they can fit multiple cannons in there, I don't think it matters, right? Neeb did to Lambo yesterday? Was this spot or somewhere else? Behind Mineral. Okay. Apparently Neeb did this to Lambo yesterday. Was this on stream? So it's got to be here, because that's the only spot. I don't think you can do 3-pylon here, can you? Oh, just like that? Wait, just this? Oh, you can fit 2 cannons there? Oh, okay. And this, you see, this one is bullshit. This one's pretty good. Because it's so far for them to pull workers down, so unless they react really quick. Yeah, that's the only spot where you can wall off with a single pylon. That spot. Obviously, you could do this one as well for a pylon wall off. It's probably even better. So you could fit like bloody 3 cannons in there. Alright guys, our next map is Stargazers, also made by Maris. This map is a bear. It's a bear's face, let's be real. It absolutely looks like it, looks like nothing else, and it has a star nose, which is adorable. Unfortunately, it does have a frowny face. Stargazers offers the opportunity to play standard games or make things a bit more spicy by opening up the path through the pocket. So it's 148 by 116, so very big on the sideways dimension, not so big on the up and down. That's okay, guys. It's all about how you use it, not about the size. You spawn up on the ears of the bear up here. Now, you have an expansion there. Look at that, free in-base expansion. Small problem, guys. There's 2 mineral patches there. Each one of those is 10 minerals, so you need to take 4 worker trips, long distance, to mine that out. So it is a full base. It's a great base, but you need to sacrifice a bit of mining time to open it up. So if you want to go for that as your first expansion in X's first or something, you can basically send one of your very first workers to start mining that out. Slows your opening down a little bit, but it's honest. It can't be attacked by ground. It's got this tiny ramp leading up to it, and that ramp has 2 minerals on it, each with 40 minerals on them, which means your opponent would need to drop a mule, let it mine, and then drop another mule just to open one up, or alternatively send 8 workers, 8 individual workers to go and mine that open. I'm waiting for someone to be lazy, assume no one's ever going to do that, not even wall it off, not have a spotting unit, and you'll see someone bring 8 workers and mine it open and win the game. It's not going to happen very often, but it'll be really cool if it does, right? If you have a Zerg flooding the front with a speedling all in, but then they also bring 8 drones and one at a time micro them to open up the back door, so the Protoss thinks they've held the front, and then the Lings flood in the back door. It would be very funny. However, I'm pretty sure a lot of players are going to already have a pylon and just be walling it off. So I don't think we'll see that much, but the dream is real. So you got your in base, then you got another base out there. You can take this one or this one or this one. Lots of bases, big map. It's not that quick to get across. I'm not sure of the rush distance. We'll investigate in a sec. But check it out, guys. Gold base down here. I've seen Solar take that a few times. I've taken it a few times. It's a normal 6 mineral patch gold base. It's not too bad because it does take your opponent a while to get down there to it. It's obviously very hard to defend, though. So definitely something to keep in mind. Okie doke. Cool. Rush distance. What do we... Or rush path, sorry. I think it'd just be like this. Straight there. There are sight blockers around the nose. Some cool shit going on. Some bridges here leading up to. There is a watchtower there as well, by the way, with a bit of fog around it. So that's going to just see kind of this little zone of the map to see if anyone's opening those paths up. But the only real path opening would usually be the defending player can easily mine that path open. So it's more likely you'll see a player here open it up and say, oh, I want to be able to move out through here to the middle of the map a bit easier. So that's what's more likely. As you do kind of expand to the bottom of the map, we want to see lots of fighting down there. It'll be really exciting and awesome, won't it, guys? It won't, though. The only reason why we'd ever see fighting on the bottom of this map is that gold base. Otherwise, this map will be exactly like Habitation Station. It'll be exactly like Blackburn. It'll be exactly like every other rotationally symmetrical map. In that, if you look at a heat map of the action on these maps, all the fighting will be on this path. Occasionally up here, occasionally down here, but it's all going to be in this area because that is what happens on these maps. Sometimes there's a little doom drop or a sneaky air attack through the top. Unfortunately, with these sort of rotationally symmetrical maps where both players are in the corners, you almost always see all the action on the same area of the map. And it's part of why I personally don't enjoy Blackburn very much. And I vetoed that map and I veto it every tournament I play. It's because you just end up, everyone fights on this same area of the map because it's so much more accessible. So late game, occasionally you see a bit more fighting in the other areas of the map. The gold base, I'm hoping like Blackburn, does drag a bit more fighting out to that bottom area of the map as people fight over the gold base and look to deny each other's bases. But it's going to be interesting. It's just regular symmetry, rotational symmetry as a 4-place map. Sorry, what's the word then? What do you call it? It's mirrored? Fucking, I don't know. It's not identical on both sides, right? What do we call this? Because it's not opposites. I don't know. I'm not good with English. It's not my first language. I grew up speaking Australian, guys. We'd just say, oh, it's a cunt of a fucking map and the fucking thing's all fucking different, eh? Mirrored. Okay. Because the map is mirrored, these mirrored maps, rather than just being opposite, it creates a weird scenario there. Sorry, you guys know what I mean. You can figure out. I'm not good at speaking, okay? It's definitely not my job. Okay, guys, let's measure the rush distance here and take a little look at the scenery of the map. So we're going to leave our main base ramp on 530, about 529. And once again, what did I tell you guys? Maris likes purple. She likes pink, twilighty colors. There's purple water, which tells me the sea creatures are very high on terrazine gas. You can see it's all sparkly. We've got nice plants in there. I've already forgotten what game timer we left on, guys. You guys let me know in the chat and we'll see. Beautiful plants. I do like the scenery and the purple cracks on the ground, even though it's a bit more barren, and I do prefer forest maps and greenery and beaches. 530, chat says. 529, 530. And we're going to get in there 34 seconds later. Okay, so it's about 34, maybe 35 seconds. Let's compare that to the official listing of Stargazers, which says 35 seconds. So 35-second rush distance. So it's an in-between rush distance, not too crazy far, not too short. And for those who are wondering, I guess I keep giving Beckett as the example of a recent map we had that was really short rush distance. Curious Minds, SC2, I believe this was like 34, in fact, Curious. So even Curious, a smaller map, Berlingrad, right? Let's search Berlingrad. 33 seconds in the most recent pool. What about a big map like Glittering Ashes? Now, Glittering Ashes was 39, which I think was the longest in our most recent map pool. Just a couple of seconds doesn't sound like a lot, does make a big difference, right? And this is, of course, the distance, time it takes a worker to get across there, okay? All right, first thing we want to check, right, is that Reaper ledge, right? What Reaper ledge? There is a Reaper ledge there, okie dokie, no worries. I know you guys want to know, so let's find out, shall we? Yes, guys, you can siege a tank on the ledge. This is the map pool where you could do it. Can you do two? I very much doubt it, guys. I very much doubt it. Oh. Actually, supply blocked for once. Nope, see no space.
Well, where's the emergency?
Can't fit another tank in there either. So you can siege a tank on the ledge. That's cute. I mean, I think it's going to be pretty... It actually completely covers that ramp. So if someone's gone that base, this base, Ling Bane, and you get a tank siege there, and they don't just pull their queens to kill it quick enough, like, yeah, obviously that's a very oppressive tank. It has full coverage over both ramps. That's really cool. How are you going to get a tank siege there? God knows. I feel like you've already done something very special. If you've got a tank there, I think you deserve to have this siege up angle. It's pretty sick. You could also siege the tanks behind the minerals, which is going to be really hard for like Lings and Banes to get to. So, I mean, definitely this whole area is going to be a really sick siege position if you could get there. 2-base quick marine tank all in, I don't know. Should be fun. Okay, guys, so anyway, Reaper Ledge. Can you wall that off is, of course, the question. That's going to be a bit tricky with this one, right? So first of all, let's check where can he jump up? Okay, so that gives us an idea of what we're looking at. So I think you can go like there, and then he can no longer... Nope, never mind. Okay, that actually walls it off. And then you can go... just like this. And that'll make sure that's a complete wall off. Reaper unable to get in there. As always, guys...
Ready for pickup? Talk to me.
Unless they're a pro gamer and they want to do a pro gamer move. And then they're in. No? Okay, we'll try that corner. We'll try the other corner. Guess that one doesn't work. Yeah, actually, this one might be... This wall-off might be jump-proof. Can it work without the gate being there? Not a chance in hell, guys. Not a chance in hell. And he's in! Okay, so you got to go on the diagonal of the pylon there, because that one's too thick a choke point. Cool. There's no Reaper jumping point on the natural because there's terrain there. And, okay. Yeah, Overlords. Let's go. Pillars. Where are the pervert pillars? They do not exist! There's one all the way out here. You can come in the back and spy the minerals, but you can't really get in very deep. So the gases are very hard to scout. If you get an Overlord back there, it's somewhat protected, right? So you can see there's actually like a good bit of dead space where they would need to actually put a unit on each side to get it. Because otherwise you can just go here. Notice that Marine can't hit us anymore. but if that pushes you close enough to get hit by the other side. So you can go up there. So there's semi-protection, not proper protection. And an Oracle should easily be able to hide back here, or a Banshee, or a Liberator, or whatever, out of reach. Though, actually, it feels like a Stalker might be able to hit that. So definitely it's not the greatest. Not that much dead space up here. Obviously, heaps of dead space on the top. And air units can go around. You're going to be obviously expanding along the bottom side of the map, usually away from your opponent. Terrans will probably be opting for the front third base, taking this one to reinforce through the middle of the map. There is rocks there, not the most impactful rocks, but, you know, just allows a bit more freedom of movement once you take that one down. And I think that's about it, guys. Stargazers is a very beautiful map because we do have the bear's face. I just want to see more fighting near the bear's nose. Obviously, its eyeballs are up here. Its frowny mouth down here. Those gold, juicy minerals. And think about it, they're the teeth. Gold teeth. It's a bear with gold teeth. I think the fighting will tend to be along this top middle of the area of the map. I do find that a little bit more boring. I think I'll really enjoy this map for the first few months, and I think I'll get bored of it a lot quicker than the other maps, just because I don't think there'll be as much fighting in all these different areas and utilizing these ridges and high ground and low ground and all that sort of stuff. That's what will make me get bored of this map rather quickly. Alright guys, our next map is Tropical Sacrifice, supposedly clocking in at 37-second rush distance, 140 by 136 size. Two-player map designed by Legan. I always think it's Legion, but it's Legan. Legion? Legan? I don't know. I think Legion sounds better. But hey, I name people on the internet all the time, and they don't like it. Control the 3 bridges in the middle or go a long way around the sides through the bushes. Real simple explanation here. Let's just take a look at the rush distance in game, guys. And if we click there, we can go, okay, we are leaving the ramp 43 seconds, guys. Let's see how long we take. Twitch chat has told me apparently it's Lagan. Well, they spelt it wrong, didn't they, if it's Lagan? That's not, if they wanted it to be pronounced Lagan, then they would have pronounced it Lagan, right? So this is my problem with a lot of people online writing their names, is they don't know how to write good, and yet then they demand you say their name good. Ridiculous. Now we do have beautiful crystals all over this map, some nice plants, shiny crystals, a bit of red scattered on this kind of like ruin tile set. You got some Oblivion Gate shit here, you got some, you know, burning pyres and some Protoss statues and stuff. And I think it was 43 seconds to 1:20. I'm not good with numbers, guys. I think that's about, what was it? 37 seconds, right? And that says 37 seconds. Okay, cool. We matched up on the times. I do like some of the art, guys, because you do have this kind of like temple runic setup with the pyres and these little statues and stuff. But then you get down and there's just trees. And there is some water on this map. Crystals, flowers. And what I really love is, of course, that you've got beaches on the edges as well. Okie doke, guys. First things first. Oh, actually, I do kind of... Let's just build a hatchery, hey? Down here. All right, guys, Reaper ledges. Hello. We've got a ledge there and a ledge there. So you got 2 mini ledges on the front, which is not too abnormal, but it does take a little while to get from here to here to defend, especially if you're using like Marines. And then we've got a big ledge here. Definitely can't squeeze a tank there. How far on the edge can you jump up and down? You got to jump there. So if you go here, does that block it? It does not. So you're gonna have to go there with like the pylon or the gate, and that means I don't think there's any way you can block it like that. There's no way, because if you do this, he can still jump. And the red lines actually very clearly show you where these markers are. So let's see, if we put the pylon in the middle, which is what I would normally want to be doing, then can we do it? And the answer is, I don't think this is wallable, guys. Because if we do that, okay, cool, he can't jump that side now, but there's no way you would need a 4th structure. Because you see, if I put it there, he can still jump on that left side. So I don't think it's possible to 3-wall this. If anyone finds a way, I'm sure they'll let me know, but it looks like, if it is, it's going to be like, you have to be pixel perfect and stuff. Well, not pixel perfect, but perfectly spaced. So that definitely is a problem. I guess the pylon could be there, right? Oh yeah, let's try that. Okay. Is that gonna... Isn't that the exact same thing you had before, Pig? Hello? Oops. Let me try one more time. Does that... Nah. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. There's no way, guys. There's no way. There's no way you could Reaper wall it. Okay, good to know. Front of the map is going to be kind of cramped in terms of a wall off because, of course, your Nexus goes there, guys. So your pylon will be right up against it if you are Protoss and walling off. And, of course, just a nice 3-building wall off. Pretty clean there. Easily wall off behind that with that as well.
Ready to roll out. Ready for dust off.
Okay.
In the pipe.
Other than that,
By 5.
we've got overlords, guys. So let's send these overlords around this beautiful, beautiful map. First of all, no pillars. So it seems like there's a map making... Oh, there we go. We found a pillar. Okay, so there's a pillar that sees 1 gas, but it's only going to see part of the ramp. An army could move in or out without you spotting it. So once again, partial pillar that does not give full vision. There's no area over here that sees everything. No dead space in the back once again, guys. Just something to be aware of.
Coming through.
A queen's just been born.
You can see, you can hide in the back, but I'm actually not sure if that's out of queen range, similar to that last map. It is just barely out of queen range there. Interesting. Favorite part of this map, guys, there are beaches. There's shells, there's beautiful plants, there's like this kind of jungle beaches with pretty seashells all around it. And Ewoks! Oh, they've got Ewoks. These guys technically are not Ewoks because of copyright, guys. I believe they've got some silly name. They're Jimble Jumbles or some shit like this. But as you can see, they have some Stormtrooper, Terran helmets, some Terran Marine helmets. They're definitely not Stormtrooper helmets that they're playing bongos on, sitting around the campfire, having a good time. And these are their beautiful little tree huts that they live in as well. So beautiful map here, Tropical Sacrifice, and that always does make me happy. It does have female Carracks on it as well, which always gets me a little bit excited to hear those screeching as a battle goes on. And yeah, we've got also up in the corner more of that. Does that mean... So if there's one there, that means there should be a little... Yeah, there's another one. So that's pretty cool, having the little Ewok people next to you. Okay, guys, let's go back to our map. So you've got your bases here. Okay, so you can see 3rd and 4th. And then you can expand right along the edge if you want. But obviously, past those first 5 bases, I think it's going to get a bit more contentious. So, when you are going through... that's not it. Remember, there's 3 bridges, Pig. Shortest path's probably going to be through the main middle bridge. So these bridges, of course, create some really cool choke points. You've got sight blockers all over the map as well, just to create some interesting... Having air spotters or units on the high ground or whatever, being pre-spread is going to help you out there. And as the map goes on, you're going to have some really nice little paths. Once again, main base has a lot of room for doom drops and stuff to come into it. So that's going to be an interesting area to keep an eye on. You can see up here, right? Up there. If you're down here at this base or something like that, bam, getting up into that main to defend that big wide open main, definitely going to be interesting to see how that one goes.
Talk to me.
Tanks sieged on the low ground aren't really going to reach anything. The ramp is very far back, so any Terran production in TVT should be very safe.
On my way.
Likewise, even if you do a tank drop in TVT down, say, here, you maybe hit 1 gas, guys. You're not really able to reach too much from those areas, right? So you can get rid of 1 gas in a TVT with that siege up. It's not very impactful. Other than that, if this is a 3rd base, I mean... Okay, so here's where you'd see if the Zerg has this as a 3rd or 4th. Here, same with Protoss. This is where the tanks would want to be setting up. Put 1 there, 1 there. This tank especially, nearly impossible to get at with melee units. Only a couple Zerglings or Zealots could attack it at a time. And you can see it almost reaches to the Nexus or the hatchery. So you can then have some Marines in front with medevacs that poke forward from that position. Really good versus Zealot army or a Ling Bane army. But Roach Ravager, Colossus will have plenty of time to defend you if you're down there. Oh, they've got Tastelopes on this map too, guys. This is my favorite critter. It's so nervous. Oh, this one is not the one that's on drugs on Pride of Altaris. Look, it's moving at a normal speed. So they've taken the drugged up Tastelope, and this is the detox Tastelope that moves at a normal speed. For those who don't know, on Pride of Altaris, this thing is like... It stutters around like so fast when it'll just be standing there like, oh cool, a critter, and it's like, and it just runs off. I think that some of them are green as well, aren't they? The Tastelopes on that map. That's cool. Definitely going to be interesting to see. You've got not a lot of map area on the right, but a little bit of dead space that air units could float around in behind. And overall, just going to be interesting bridge control areas in the middle of the map. And then, of course, attacking into these sides to hit these faraway expansions as they go. No gold bases and no rich gas bases on this map. I think it's a pretty map. It looks like it's straightforward reasonably, but it's fine. I think it's going to be, just all these little details on the map. We'll figure out where the abusive spots are. I can't wait to see tanks sieged up, here, shooting across the river. I saw, I think someone was pushing across this bridge yesterday, and I really wanted to see the tanks sieged up here. Because I think this base was taken already by the Zerg, and I was like, oh, it'd be so cool to have some tanks across the river. How often do you see tanks shooting across a river in StarCraft? You don't. It just doesn't happen. So that was going to be super exciting if we see that one. Fingers crossed, gang. Fingers crossed. Yeah, I think this would be the nicest little tank spot here, probably. Down there's a nice ledge as well. You could put tanks on that. Kind of hard to flank down to get to them.
Ready for pickup.
Doesn't reach very far though, does it, guys? Cool map. All right, guys, our final map is Waterfall, made by Super Human. It's a 2-player map. 2 Protoss factions are cohabiting in this small rush map. A stream divides the map in 2, but there are 3 forward passages and 2 bridges that let players move across it. So the idea is you got the yellow Protoss versus the white Protoss. Guys, I don't make this stuff up. It's just Protoss is super racist, okay? They tend to be divided into like color groups and stuff, okay? I'm not even kidding you. This is so common. Protoss, we all know Rohana. We've got the Purifier side on the top, the white and orange up there. So that's your 5 bases. And then there's the yellow side down there, which I guess is the more standard like mothership kind of Spear of Adun template on the ground. And then you've got these middle bases that are obviously going to be heavily contested. And this one here and this one here are both rich gas bases. So let's go take a look at it, guys. This is one of the most beautiful maps in the pool, but it's got a very short rush distance as well. According to this, it's 33 seconds, so not as fast as some of the others. But let's just give it a little measure and check how that stacks up. So we are going to leave our ramp at 1:15, and let's take a look. So we are here starting off in the beautiful Protoss standard tile set. We're heading across. You can see there's pine trees. There's rivers over there with a nice ford that we're going past. There's fireflies of different colors on different areas of the maps. Some birds that we go past there. Beautiful river here. Some flowers, some green on the ground. Flowers waving in the wind. I love this map. The aesthetic is beautiful. There we go. Some more of those birds. And we do arrive over in our opponent's one. I think we left 1:15. It's going to be about 32 seconds is what I would say more than. I think this is 32, not 33 personally, guys. Obviously, I don't think that the Wikipedia page is like measured to a super sick scientific margin or anything. But it's a beautiful map. Let's take a little bit more of a look at this rush map. All right, we got a ledge, yeah? Holy shit! Oh, that's a chunky ledge. Chunky ledge, everybody. Oh my god. Okay, so I do not think this ledge will be wallable with 3 structures. Usually if it's not wallable by 3 structures, it's not worth the walling. There's no way that's gonna wall that off, yeah. I mean, you could do a semi-wall, but this is not gonna wall the whole thing. As you can see, guys, there's just no way. There's clear markers of where the edges of the jump-in spots are. You might be like, oh, but can't you just build the gateway to there and that'll wall it? No, that's... You can still jump to the left of that, you see? So... No Reaper wall off on this map unless you want to put both pylons in the wall, guys, which I don't think you ever want to do. So the Reaper will be able to jump in. You'll have to just do something. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I think it's fine. At least it's one individual ledge. And that. Can you move the Cybercore one to the right? It seems there are 2 ledges. Wait, what? No, there's not 2 ledges. It's all one ledge.
On the way. Nothing I can't handle. Yes, indeed. Fair enough.
No, it's all one ledge.
Oh, that's all? Certainly.
I purposely told the Reapers to go in different directions there.
Done. All right. Nothing I can't handle.
All right, so the Reapers will be able to actually get in the base. It turns out if you invest in a scouting unit, you can scout. Who knew, guys? So, Pillars. You do get a pillar on this map, guys. So Super Omen, old school, says you get a pillar. You get to see the whole natural. But the gases at least are hidden in the back. So there is a little bit of secrecy on this one map that does have the old pillar. In terms of dead space, it looks like there is a little bit of dead space in the back there. And we can see, of course, just how that goes. Yeah, that should be... Oh, that's actually kind of close, isn't it? That's actually kind of close, man. Uh-oh. Ooh. No hiding in the back of the main anymore, douchebags. No more hiding in the back of the main. A lot of the maps here, guys, be careful of that, okay? So they're not giving you guys dead space. There's enough here to maybe hide in. But even then, if there's a unit on both sides, I don't think it's going to work. So just keep that one in mind, okay? These stalkers are going to be able to hit you.
Ready for dust off.
Yeah, there's no way you can get in the dead space. I don't think there's any way you can not be hit. So no. Okay. Okay, no, there's a sweet spot.
Talk to me.
Okay, there is a sweet spot. So you can hide from stalkers there. Queens might be able to hit you, though. Queens have one more range than stalkers. Keep that in mind, okay? Other than that, we do have beautiful areas. First of all, guys, look at this. There's a goddamn waterfall. There's little pink fireflies down here. There's a waterfall. There's birdies down here and pine trees and fireflies. And there's even a see-through bridge so you can see the reeds and stuff underneath it. There's this little like mossy things and stuff, and there's pine trees, and this was waving in the wind. Oh, I really like this map. These fords look beautiful. Dude, heck yeah. Very pretty map. Waterfall is my favorite because of that. On the other hand, it's a tiny map. It's a rush map, guys. There is not a lot of room. And one of the things that a few people have pointed out is, personally, if it does get to late game, it's pretty boring. A few people said this, and I was like, why? Why is that, guys? And they were like, look at what a sensor tower covers. And I was like, yeah. They were like, this sort of small map, in the rare case it goes all the way to a stalemate, gets very boring because sensor like with a Terran in there, because there's no surprises. It's just like, you can't move without me seeing you. My sensor tower reaches from my base to your base. So definitely a little frustrating, I think, if we get that, but it's a rush map. I don't see it going there that often. What did we see yesterday? I saw a very cool push against Zerg here. So we saw, I think it was Beyond Scarlet, maybe? I think it might have been that one. I can't remember what map it was. No, actually, I think it was a different map. I can't remember who was playing. I think it was Jason Scarlet, actually. Had a really fun map here. And he actually sieged a bunch of tanks on this ledge. And then had Marines on the high ground. And you can see those tanks, they almost hit the hatchery, right? So that's actually pretty huge. Actually, they might even be able to hit it. Are they hitting it? They are, yeah. So you can even hit the hatchery from there. And it's a pretty long path around to flank, but at the same time, some pretty big wide open areas. But definitely some cool tank ledges there, potentially. We could also siege across this bridge, of course. Tank there. And maybe put a tank on the other side, because you kind of have to go around corners to get at these tanks, which is always going to be pretty brutal. Once again, tanks shooting across the river could be really cool. Actually, I think this is the map with the river tanks that I was talking about. Where if you're kind of pushing forward as the Terran, and even in TVT, you could imagine like turrets and tanks splitting the river in the middle would be really cool. I mean, that's really awesome. For me, thematically, seeing the tanks across, I'm really excited to see tanks set up across the river, getting some Stalingrad style shit. Let's go. It's gonna be crazy. I don't know. So this looks like a pretty cool map. We go back and draw on it a little more potentially. Not that much dead space. You've got obviously the main path through the middle. You can try to get up in between their bases or go around. You can also, of course, split off in these directions as well. If it does get kind of choked up in the middle, there will be kind of these parrying, not parrying, but counter-attacking forces down the extreme flanks when it's kind of split map and there's a real no-go zone in the middle. People are going to go for the sides. Obviously, Doom drops, Warp Prisms into the main, going to be very common on this map. And I think it'll be really cool. I think it's beautiful. Definitely we'll see games suddenly end on this map because of the short rush distance and the smallness of it. But I think this is going to be a really fun map to check out. And I think it tops off what is overall a very exciting map pool, guys. Now, obviously, once again, for people who didn't listen at the start, the maps will be out soon. We have news. It says soon, and apparently not Blizzard soon, actual soon. Not the TM, soon, trademarked, actual soon, which for me, I can guarantee you guys that means that it should be out right after Valencia. I can't guarantee that at all. I'm kidding. This was, of course, tweeted just a week before I'm recording this video, so it will be out soon. I would imagine within the next month, but who knows with Blizzard? Maximum 3 months, minimum just after Valencia is what I'm thinking. I guess the last point I really want to just quickly think about as we look through these maps, guys, is are those greedy maps going to be very weak to Swarmhost Nydus? So here, Data C, Swarmhost Nydus up there. I feel like it's a big enough gap. It won't get a crazy amount of damage. I don't know. I don't know if it'll be that powerful on Data C. Not an issue there. Not an issue on that map. Too easy to get out there. I think Moondance is going to potentially be a problem. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely Nydus Swarmhost there could be pretty good. They'll mostly expire by the time they get in, but there's a lot of production and a Nexus there available. You can also do the Nydus Swarmhost over there as well. And of course, all these middle areas. Might be quite powerful on Moondance, Nydus Swarmhost again. And what about here? Nydus Swarmhost down here. Nydus Swarmhost down here. Could be quite effective out here as well, potentially, if they're still only on 3 bases. Maybe. I think generally, though, when you've got people going into a super greedy meta on these in-base maps, you're going to see people go super greedy to match it, or they're going to just do a big surprising all-in. Deny scouting, do a big all-in and try to kill the opponent, which I don't mind a little bit more of that. There will be a little bit more of gambling potentially going on in those games, and we'll see how the pro gamers warm up to it and what their criticisms are in the coming weeks. All right, guys, thanks for watching this breakdown. Sorry it went for so long. Hopefully you learned something. Let us know your comments, things I missed, questions, concerns, and what you'd like to see in the next map pool. For me, my wish would be for us to keep a few maps like maybe Glittering Ashes and a few others from the last map pool, have a bigger map pool, 9 maps, and of course to see a few more maps like Golden Wall that are a bit crazy thrown in there, especially if we have more maps. So that those maps can still always be vetoed out, but they're on the ladder and there's an option if the players don't veto it that it gets played. That would be super sick. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Goodbye and good night.